But we begin this hour with the Democratic effort to hammer John McCain over Iraq. The organization MoveOn.org has teamed up with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, to run a new television ad nationally on cable and on local broadcast stations in Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The ad buy is almost $600,000, which is a fairly significant purchase this early in the general election. Here's the ad.
Hi, John McCain. This is Alex, and he's my first. So far, his talents include trying any new food and chasing after our dog. That and making my heart pound every time I look at him. And so, John McCain, when you say you would stay in Iraq for 100 years, were you counting on Alex? Because if you were, you can't have him.
Over 3 million members of MoveOn.org Political Action are responsible for the content of this ad.
Eli Pariser is the executive director of MoveOn.org, and J.P. Frere is the managing editor of the American Spectator. Thank you both. And Eli, the child is suggested to be a future draftee, but isn't that misleading to imply that John McCain's plan to keep a true presence in Iraq would lead to a draft?
Well, it's not necessarily a draftee, but the point is, when you go out in the country and you talk to Americans, this is something that you hear a lot. The parents are concerned that their kids are going to be facing the consequences of this war 10, 20 years down the line if John McCain becomes our president, because, his policy is pretty clear. He wants to keep us there, and our military is pretty stretched right now.
JP, why isn't Iraq fair game for organizations like MoveOn.org?
Oh, well, they can certainly talk about it all they want, but I do find it kind of weird that they're talking about a hypothetical conscription of a child when, in fact, they're already conscripting a child. I mean, I don't know if there was a consent form signed by that little baby to be part of the anti-war movement, but yet there he is. And it's funny because I'm also concerned about how my children are going to have to face the consequences of leaving Iraq, as well as having a weaker national security. So I'm just wondering what MoveOn.org might have to say about that.
Eli, did you get a consent form from the parents of that little baby?
Yes, we did, and the bigger point here is when we're talking about the policy of John McCain, we're talking about a commitment to stay in Iraq for years or decades to come. He said if it's 100 years, that's fine with him. And, we wanted to make sure that voters understand the contrast between that policy and the route that Barack Obama is proposing, which would bring us home from Iraq soon. I think that's where most Americans stand. It's time for our president to reflect that position.
And JP, wouldn't you acknowledge that in fact the cost, JP, that the ongoing cost for the Iraq war is going to be, the burden on that is going to be on the next couple of generations, right? Well, the financial, never mind whether they're going to serve, the financial cost.
Right. But the unfortunate thing is that MoveOn.org actually has to misrepresent how Senator McCain had said about what he had said about the 100 years. It meant an occupation sort of like how we're in Korea. It didn't mean that we would constantly be at war in Iraq the way that, that we've been. It wouldn't be stasis.
JP,
but
if you look at the ad, what it says is, John McCain says we could be in Iraq up to 100 years. That's exactly what he said. And frankly, I think Americans are just as opposed to an occupation by American troops of a foreign country for 100 years as they are to, a presence there in a war.
Does South Korea want us to go? Does South Korea want us to go?
The point isn't about South Korea, it's about Iraq. Iraq wants us to go. If you look at the polls of the Iraqi people, they want us to be on our way out. And I think it's actually one of the worst things that we could be saying right now, or that John McCain could be saying, to signal, hey, we're going to be in your country against your will for another 100 years.
JP, 20 seconds, you get the last word.
Sure thing. I think that it impugns the valor of our all-volunteer military, folks that have decided that they want to be there, that they want to continue signing up to be part of this effort, and I think that it's a worthwhile mission, and that MoveOn.org has to misrepresent that in order to get their point across, and that's too bad.
J.P. Frere, the managing editor of the American Spectator, and Eli Pariser, the executive director of MoveOn.org. I would suggest a very effective ad simply in how it's presented, but a lot of arguments certainly over the content. In any case, thank you both very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.